Okay, so it seems like you're, yes, it seems like you started thinking about this thing and then you started doing a lot of different things that are related to it, right? Like there seems like
Right,
to be a
yeah.
huge
So
tree of things.
biparsing,
Yeah.
user interfaces, optics, yeah, things like that are what I'm working on. There's a lot of like small projects that other projects that are not as like um, out there, but they're mostly like I don't know that anyone cares about them. There's like a tool called VM Control, which deploys VMs for you. Like,
Wait, deploys VMs for you?
no. Yeah, it's like a declarative thing where you just describe a bunch of. It's like Docker, but for VMs. You can think of it that way. Like
Okay.
the main thing about Docker is like Docker's not really not like they implemented containers, right? They used a certain container abstraction that
Mm-hmm.
was already sort of baked into Linux. They just provided nice orchestration around it. So I made a very poorly designed tool that sort of simulates Docker, but for virtual machines, because I was frustrated that you can't manage virtual machines as nicely as you can containers. Anyway, that's not
Okay.
really in a state where I can publish it or anything, but I, I actually here I'll send you a link to something that might actually be good. So I have a list of to-do things, and this is actually something where um, these are actually things that I suspect I'll never have time to get around to. So if you want to do one of these things and I can afford, your whatever you want to charge for them, I'll actually pay you for this, or maybe you can set up a bounty and I'll contribute to that.
Oh, so I mean the things that are in the
Um,
issues here, the list of issues.
yeah, that's right. Like one of the top ones here is please. There's like I really want if you go to the please one. Um,
Okay, this one, fetch options.
yeah, right. So one of the problems that one of the things that really annoys me is that everything sort of has its own um, calling convention on the command line. Some things want environment variables, some things want command line arguments, something want files with like JSON in them, things like that, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
everything has its own opinion. And there's isomorphisms between these things. There's
Of
like
course.
if
Yep.
you have, partially JSON and partially envars and partially command line things, you can convert it to whichever final format you want.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can have something where you can do please whatever actually thing you want to call, and please will like adjust everything so that it's suitable for whichever thing is actually consuming the result. That would be that'd be good. Well, that means can I pay full time? I don't know. I can pay. Well, you didn't. I mean, if we're getting into technicalities, you didn't say how much I'm paying. So maybe I can pay you a fraction of a cent every day. Yeah. Well, if I can, I probably can't afford anyone that's actually a professional programmer to work full time on this, but I'm certainly happy to chip in like $100 or whatever for each thing that you implement. Maybe
Well, I
other
mean,
people
when
can too.
we're
Yeah.
like this could be literally just good ideas for things to do on stream. Whenever I don't have a better idea, so I'll keep this in mind here. I will definitely not
Okay.
be
Cool.
asking for you to chip in, but uh, yeah, it's just good to have like something to fall back if I don't have an idea of what to do on stream. So yeah,
Okay. Cool.
that's pretty cool. Wait, some of this
Anyway,
seems pretty Galaxy 3D log view for Git. Okay,
yeah, that's
cool.
right. Yeah, 3D log view for Git would be good. That's I hate that, I can't use merges with Git. I always use rebase with Git because it looks so ugly with Git. Wow, you're still laughing, huh? It's not that funny.
I mean,
Maybe it is. I don't know.
let me think. Wait.
Well, okay, think about like how when you do a git log
Mhm.
on Nix packages, right? It just fills the screen towards the right. There's no room for anything. If you have like a cylindrical view or something, you can organize things nicely. You can have branching in polar coordinates.
Okay.
maybe it's a dumb idea, but anyway, I think it might be good.
I mean,
Or if you can
the way I
afford
fixed
each
it
space,
usually with
that would
my
be.
on my repositories or most things I work on is I usually do squash merges. Sorry. Um, so then it doesn't feel like it's as bad, right? Without like you don't have to rebase every time.
Right, but you're losing history, right? Like if you do some work, sometimes I have to come back to one of my merge requests and like undo one of my changes in there because I realized it was just a bad idea or something. So I like having the history of a particular branch. But the whole thing is like I
But
think
then I feel like
merge.
that kind of makes the master dirty, right? Because like so, again, it depends a lot on what kind of colleagues you have. But usually, when I'm in a larger team, a lot of people will do like TMP commits, like 20 of them in a row, because they're switching computers because who knows why, right? Because they just want to.
I think this is like a problem for what like a sufficiently advanced Git user interface can hide those things away because the only reason you care someone did 20 commits is because you have to see them and it blocks off the stuff you actually care about. But if there was a way to like zoom in and zoom out from
Okay, I
like
get
so
it.
that things get squashed in the user interface but they're not actually squashed. I don't know. There's also like performance problems with like having a history that's too large, but I think there's a lot of structure that's worth keeping but not looking at all the time.
I get it.
Um,
Yeah, again, I mean, the
yeah.
problem I was saying, like you get a like when you do rebase, you get all the without squashing, you get a lot of like commits that you don't care about. Exactly, that's one of the problems that you're probably mentioning, like thinking about here, right? Because if it's something 3D as opposed to a console app that you can just like grab through or whatever, then yeah, sure, like you said, you can zoom in, zoom out, do a lot of things. So yeah, I get it. Okay, I retract my laughing. It's no longer funny. It kind of makes
Well, thank
sense.
you. Thank you. I don't feel as bad now.
It still seems like very Galaxy brain to yeah, like
Fine, fair enough. You'll
kind of
see.
like the thing where
Everyone
you
thinks
tell your
I
boss
will.
you need a very fast video card to in order to use
In
Git,
10
right?
years when in 10 years when everyone is using 3D Git, I'll come back to you and ask who is right.
Uh, wait,
And they'll be using like VR 3D Git too, not just they'll be
VR.
thinking
Okay, yeah,
through.
that's the next level for
That's
sure.
right. Sorry,
Uh,
Reed's asking a question about something. Yeah, I have no idea. Sorry.
so I
Maybe
think
it says in the issue.
somewhere here in the 3D thing. I don't think so.
Yeah, unfortunately I started this repo as a thing, as like a list of things that anyone could work on, but maybe I wasn't as conscientious about that, and there's some stuff that's just for me. There's like a
Oh, you mean
Clesley,
it's here? Okay.
Haley.
Oh, this thing. Okay.
Okay, so I guess then the answer is no, it's gone forever. I should delete, delete that
Lost the sense of time.
one. Yeah,
Uh,
maybe it didn't make sense back then either. Who knows?
okay. Cool.
There's some stuff. There's another thing. There's like a haiku battle. You know, like how they have rap battles.
Mm-hmm.
I want a thing like that, but with like haiku battles. And then like, someone rates. It needs to be a haiku though. So like, there's two people who like. It's like a game, right? Like you
Mm-hmm.
log on and there's like a tournament,
And how
and
does somebody win?
well, you write a haiku that this is your opponent, and someone judges like how sick the burn was,
Okay.
and then the sicker the burn, the higher the points, and then eventually there's only one person standing.
Okay, so like a
Just-
haiku
I
royale
like to do
then.
this one. Exactly, yeah. But you
Cool.
have like a time limit. And, I don't know. Maybe you'd have to like wrap the actual haiku or something, but that doesn't seem like it would work.
Cool. Okay, well, this is
Yeah.
fun. Okay. So what else is okay? So we were talking about this thing, and then you said, okay, the to-do thing is your to-do. Okay, cool. So do you have any other questions? Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. One other thing that I'm working on right now is just trying to learn some Agda because you saw that like thing where I was saying quick check whatever that I was talking about with Reed. I actually have like a huge hole in my understanding in terms of being able to prove things are true. Like I just sort of like whenever I need to prove something, I just paste it into either the Slack or Stack Overflow or something, and someone knows what the answer is. So that's my theorem prover. I just
It's kind of like ask the elders, right?
That's right. That's right. So, but I'm trying to get better at actually learning theorem proving and whatnot. It's very like early on. Like I barely know any, like, I barely know the syntax for Agda, but I'm learning that, and that's taking up a fair chunk of time. Some of this actually has to do with like there's like I already mentioned monoidal functors, but I have a huge library of monoidal functors and like tests for them. Here, I'll send
Okay.
a link to what's going on there. And I would like to prove them instead of checking them because so I'm actually not really that good at writing good tests that actually prove anything. So sometimes the tests pass just because I'm not testing anything. Oh, but with proofs you can't. You know, it's more
Yeah.
solid. You don't have to worry about that. Anyway,
But
so
then you'd
that's
have
not
to
as
re-implement the library in Agda or something, and then test it there, and then you kind of copy the implementations here, right?
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So that's, I don't know. That's not as fun, but yeah. Well, one last thing that I don't have in to do, and I'll add it right after this, is
Okay.
implementing JS minus minus. So the reason I want biparsers is actually not as an end goal. It's to implement JS minus minus.
Wait,
JS
what's
minus minus is a
okay?
program. It's a programming language that has less features than JS. So it has almost none of the syntax of JS, but it has functions and it has like basically the equivalent of a lambda calculus. But now that there's not as many features, you can actually write a good type checker for it. With the problem with like all these other type checkers is they have so much to deal with. There's like so many different JS features to interact with and like work around. But if you have a really significant subset of JS, with like very restricted, you can actually probably do a good type system for that. And then finally, I won't be embarrassed when I try to advocate JS.
Wait, but would you write something that's like a simple language that compiles to JavaScript but only uses like or at least its surface only has
the goal would be that the compilation is just erasing types because it would just be JS. Like it would be less of JS.
Oh, so you'd want a type language though.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Okay.
But the types, I want it to be so that if you can just skip the type checking. You can just take the program and you can put it in, you can just put it in Node.js and it'll run fine. And it'll just ignore all the type annotations, which are in comments or something. The compilation should just be like JS without, and in order to implement that type system, you can just remove a lot of features from JS, like prototypes and, you know, things like this and whatnot. If you remove all of those, hopefully it'll be easier to type. And like assignments, maybe like impure things like assignments and mutations of fields. If you remove all of those things, it might be easy to write a type system for that.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So instead of making a superset of JavaScript like TypeScript's doing, you want to do a subset. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's an interesting. So, but you don't want to change the syntax, right? You keep the same syntax, but you just want to like add types. I
kind of like it, yeah. Maybe I'd want infix operators at some point, but or maybe like infix application for arbitrary expressions, something like that. But I don't know. I'm actually okay with the noise for JS. It's, you know, it's Stockholm syndrome or something. Yeah.
I mean, on the other hand, JavaScript is a great target for languages, right? Because it's it's not very hard to target JavaScript. So.
Scheme gang.
Yeah. So I tried Racket a couple of weeks ago, and I got annoyed by how tuples and lists are kind of the same thing, and I don't know. Maybe I was following the wrong tutorial, but it annoyed me and I stopped. Or at least didn't go back to it at the very least. Maybe I should give it a bit better, like more of a chance, but yeah. Well, yeah, it's a bit wonky. This is why you should use the one through Lisp eLisp. I actually definitely don't know enough to know the differences between like Scheme and Racket, and
one has an E at the beginning and the other one doesn't have the E.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
I actually moved away from it's like regular Lisp but worse. Okay, that makes sense. I kind of used Emacs for a while, but I kind of moved to Vim now. Though I'm sure I'll move back to Emacs at some point. I change my opinion
You're
often.
getting annoyed with Vim?
Not yet, but I'll get annoyed with Vim quite soon, and I'll go back to Emacs for a while.
I think the problem with Emacs is that I started out with this thing called Spacemax or something, and there are so many features that I didn't understand. Like I'd open the Helm thing where you look up a command and there'd be like 5,000 commands that I don't understand.
Yeah, no. So I've been
very
to
few of them have anything to do with.
So I've been to.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I've been to Spacemax, then I went to Doom, which is what Vince is saying in chat. Then that also annoyed me because it feels like I didn't understand what's going on. So then I think I stole the. I borrowed Kritzkrieg's idea of I copied his repository of starting your own thing, and then I adapted it to my own needs, and that kind of worked for a while, and was not as annoying, but I still went back to Vim at some point.
Right, so like Reed's saying, like rolling your own isn't that bad. That I think that's what I want to do, but I just haven't had time to do that because my whole system is such a special snowflake thing. I'm running Arch Linux and like the ultimate hipster machine, right? Arch Linux and everything is installed with Nix, and you know there's like 90% of my disk space is taken up by old Haskell builds. It's just like a mess. So I need to reset at some point, and then maybe I'll have some latitude to change my editor.
Wow. Super fancy.
You know, like you said, novelty budget, right? There's only so much novelty budget, even just like maintaining.
Even personally, yeah. Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Like I rolled my own Vim, my Vim config starting from nothing, so that was not as difficult. Although you know what, there's this thing called Vim submode that like simulates Emacs modes, and I have like almost all my key bindings in that. So maybe that suggests that I should. I really need Emacs or something.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, there's always something that annoy me with Vim as well. So I guess it's just a matter of time. Well, you know when I think it will. I'll start going back to Emacs when I get back into doing some Agda or Coq or something, because that's very annoying to do in Vim. Like the Emacs support for all the provers is leagues above Vim. Have you tried using?
I actually have to. I do use Vim for Agda, but I sometimes have to switch to Atom to actually get the feature, like the integration features to work. If I'm just like reloading stuff and like looking at holes and whatnot, the Vim Agda stuff works well. But sometimes it like crashes if you try to do something fancy. So I just switched to Atom, and Atom has like this weird sort of overlay thing going on where somehow it's not just like it's like a rich text editing experience or something where the holes aren't actually part of the text, like the numbers on the holes.
Okay.
It doesn't actually write them into the hole. It like sort of superimposes them in a different layer.
Okay.
Anyway, I don't understand what's going on there. Maybe that's not actually good. But it does do something very fancy.
Okay, interesting. Okay, cool. Well, let's see. It's 12:30. It's not that late. Yeah, I'm not sure what else. Do we have any other questions or anything else from chat?
I don't have any questions.
No, sorry, I was asking chat because you're not supposed to come up with your own questions.
You know what?
Although if you do have.
The moment after I said that, I realized that, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Now I look stupid.
Cool. Well, yeah, I guess it's been a great conversation. I think we can. Someone else asked if you do it. Oh yeah, I think somebody asked earlier whether you do FP for a living, but I think they were late to the. I think it was Bolt. Was it Bolt? Yeah, it was Bolt who asked whether you write Haskell or FP for a living. But I think we've covered that, right? Well, go ahead and
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's just like I do it for a living in the sense that I don't have a Haskell job or a FP job or whatever. It's just it's agnostic of what language I use to implement the stuff. But I just choose to use this stuff because easier. Like it fits my mental model better. There's lots of people who like use other like weird people use aspect oriented stuff a lot sometimes, or they use like at work they're like it's a very Windows.net kind of shop, so there's like all kinds of different um, to me exotic paradigms that they use. Um, but so like they're very tolerant of that stuff, and I ended up using FP mostly because I don't have to interact with I don't have to share my sandbox with anyone else.
Yep, that's pretty cool. Well, I guess that's pretty much it for the podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. That was very fun to get to know you and to see all of the crazy projects you've been working on. Maybe we can do something at like in some different day where we look at something. Maybe the where is it? The UI library sounds like something cool to go over at some point.
Sure. Yeah. Whatever you want.
Yeah, more crazy projects, please. Yep, exactly. Yep. So yeah, thank you very much for joining, and well, I'm sure we'll chat again soon. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay. All right. See you later.
Yep. Bye bye. Yeah, I think next week we're going to have Thomas Honeyman on in this. Yeah, so Thomas just confirmed, and that he's on for next week. So looking forward to. He's been on an absolute tear lately with contributing. Yeah, man's on fire. Like contributing to PureScript, writing blog posts, updating the what was it? The real world halogen. What else? He like I think I've been doing just the last couple of weeks. He has like 2 or 3 items on my PureScript weekly list, right? So yeah, he's absolutely on fire lately.